This conference will
BRF.
now be recorded.
BRF we have completed, Yogesh. Is there anything pending in BRF? Yogesh?
Yes, sir.
Just let, so can you confirm?
That is MSMP, right, sir?
Should, sorry? Praise
That
up
is last
to
class.
B. Okay,
BRF.
okay. Last, yeah, got it. So I said that the MSMP we can execute on BRF. So basically, you can execute on any concept, either on BRM for role approval or access approval or risk approval or mitigation approval or firefighter ID approval. For any approval, we can execute the MSMP concept. For any one of the approval, the steps are same. What I will be doing is, instead of disturbing the old topic which we have done, firstly on the new topic simultaneously MSMP and access approval I will be explaining you. Okay, so if you learn MSMP for one type of approval, is it for user access? You can automatically execute for user, okay, firefighter, risk function ID, for everything, the process will be same. Instead of disturbing the old topics, by explaining the new concepts, I will be explaining them simultaneously. Okay, that's the
Okay.
thing which I have thought. Okay, why? Because if I am going for the older topics, students are somewhat confusing. Like previously only one approval we are having, why we are having multiple approvals, where to go, where to do settings, people are somewhat confusing. So do all the initial learning on ARM, then the same thing you can execute on BRM, ARA and EAM also. No difference. Only the workflow which you are selecting is going to make difference. The settings which you learn are same in every MSLP. Okay, got it?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right. Right then. So in the meantime, by tomorrow, make sure that I think we have got a small gap. Once revise the MSMP theory class by tomorrow. MSMP theory class and today's class, these two classes, once do the revision and we can do the execution part tomorrow. So, right. So let's start the today's session, the ARM settings. So further, firstly for executing ARM, what do we require? A owner we required. So what is the owner we required right now? Sorry, access owner we required. So just a second. Right. So going. So just want to confirm, is this S4 HANA system or the GRC? Yeah, this is the GRC system only. Right. So creating the user in SU01. So giving some user ID, something like Krishna underscore EAO. I'm giving access owner. Create this one and go for the last name, access owner, and go for the log on data and give a password here. So some password I am giving. So after giving this one, what is the next step? Go for the roles and convert this user ID into a access owner. Star GRAC. Access control roles we are selecting. So the role which we required here is SAP GRAC access, uh, yeah, this one, access approver. Okay, role for access request approver. This is the one which we required here. Select this one and give the common GRC roles. Okay, start GRC, and after this go for NWBC and update the data. That's the very common step which we are doing from the initial stage of the owners. So save the data. Now go for NWBC. Chapter. No worry. Okay. Go for the setup and go for the owner update. Okay. Access control owner and update the owner. Go for the create option and so select the owner ID and view the profile here. Just a second. So in the meantime, so what is meant by ARM? What is the full form? Access Request Management. What is the purpose of ARM? To provide, so what is ARM for? User access we are using. And what are the features of the ARM we are having? Okay, the slide is not available here. Yeah, just a second. So what are the features of ARM? Just a second. What? That's not the first one. What is the first feature? User maintenance in all the systems. Okay. First feature is user maintenance in all the system. Second one is copy of request. Third one is the template user. And last one is the, what is the last one? Model user. So what is the purpose here? So in all the four things, what is the common thing we can do here? Creation of the user is the common point. So in the copy of request or model user or template user, all these three options you can create the user. Whereas in user maintenance, you can create, change, delete whatever your activities you are doing in SU01. Now you are going to do the ARM concept through ARM concept. That's the only difference. So let's select the owner here. So Krishna Star, this is the access owner whom we have created. Now observe carefully. Do we have anyone like a access owners here in the list? So till now we are having firefighter owner, risk owner, role owner, mitigation owner in this way. Do we have any access owner here? Nothing, we don't have. Then what is the role owner we should be assigning? Role owners should be assigned for the ARM owner also. Access owner also. We should be assigning the role owner. Why? See, what is the description of the role owner? Just read it. Role owners are responsible for approving either role content or user role assignment. Means if a user required access for a role, then also the role owner should give approval or both. So when you create a user, when you create a role, when you assign a role to user, in all the three activities the role owner should take the responsibility of giving approval. So just note the point, in NWBC owners, both for role owners and access owners, we are having single owner type here, that is role owner. Okay, note it. So saving the data, and next one, next we should be going for the ARM settings. So where to go for ARM settings? Just go for SPRO. Go for SPRO. So in the SPRO GRC, so firstly we have to check all the above things. In integration is the connection settings called provision. In the provisioning, did we add our RFC connection or not? We have to check. Until and unless you add your RFC connection in provisioning, you cannot do the execution of ARM. That's the first thing you have to know. And next one we are having here is the go for the user access settings or ARM settings. In the access control, go for the folder called user provisioning. Here itself you are having the ARM settings. So when I go here, so first one, generate BRF plus, so access rules to role mapping. Leave this one. HR triggering we cannot do in this system, not available. So next one is the service level agreement. We have already discussed this one. What is SLA? So service levels are defined the attributes to submit the request. You can choose for the following service types. So when a request is submitted, you can just form a agreement. What are the types of requests you are getting here? Like user creating request, user change request, user deletion request, or role request. In this way, any type of request you can give an agreement here. For suppose going for the new entry, that is for deleting the user. Okay, so give some long description here for Tata project and select the process ID. Here you can select all the MSMP IDs here. So among these MSMP ID, what is the MSMP ID we require to delete the user? First one, access request workflow. So deleting the user activities available in the request only, access request only. Select it. Select the agreement type. Here there are totally three types of agreement. First one is fixed by number of days. So if I give this one in this way, the meaning is if anyone raises the request to delete the user, the request must be closed in 3 days. And next agreement is fixed by date. That is, so if I give here and give a date here, something like I am giving 30 years. So any request raised for delete of the users, we are automatically a agreement will be formed. That is, the all the requests raised to delete the user will be done by 30th of the September in this way. Last one you are having is the formula. So formula is nothing but a something like customized values they are going to maintain, like average number of requests or first five requests. Okay, in this way they are going to just form some formulas here, either like 50% of the request must be closed, or average number of requests must be closed, or first 10 requests that are raised should be closed. In this way a formula will be created, customized. So among these three, which is the widely used, means mostly fixed number of days only, most of the time will be used. So 5 days in this way. So when you are creating, when you are assigned for the access request maintenance or access request management, you have to check the agreements here. What are the agreements that are formed? So if a request rises for new account, it must be closed in 4 days. If a request rises for deletion of account, it must be closed in 5 days. So these are the agreements which you should follow. So then you may ask, what is going to happen technically if we don't follow these agreement? So technically speaking, nothing is going to happen. It's just like a rule which you are going to put for yourself. It's your target set. Okay, it's the target which the company is going to set for you. These type of requests you should close in 2 days, these type of requests you should close in 7 days. You should follow the targets. If you don't follow that, again your team lead is going to raise a queries. Why have you not closed the request for newly created account? According to our company policy, if anyone raises request to create a user, the request must be closed in 2 working days. So it is already 3 days. Why have you not closed? Based on your request numbers, they are going to check here. Where can they check the request numbers is, I think you already know, in the report, sorry, in the access management. Here they are going for the search request. So in the search request, so they want to check request related to user. So today NWBC is bit slower, I have observed, right? So here I have already shown the user request, like request numbers they are going to check. So if there is any request for newly creating account, have you approved or not, they are going to check. So even the request is closed or not also, here only they can check. Once the page is loaded, I will check it. So you have to follow the agreements, whatever they create. Okay. Next one is the request type. So this is again a labeling. Okay. So this is a label here. So like new account, change account, delete account, lock account, in this way. Different types of labels you can create for your purpose. So just a second. Yeah, sorry. So you can check here in this way. So gestures, okay, okay. So go to the transaction code SPRO and go for SAP reference IMG GRC. You can go for access control. You can go for user provisioning and go for request type. You can create a new request type if you require. That is like new user for Tata project. This is a thing I am activating it. So where this request type exists in which workflow? In access request only. New user creation is nothing but it is a part of this one only. Go for actions. So for which action are you creating this label? For creating the user. Save this one. So while creating the user, you are going to get this label. That's it. It is a just label, nothing else. Okay. Now go back. And next one is the maintain priority configuration, like low, medium, high. Okay, in this way this is also a type of label. So what is the priority? Very high. In this way you can give different things here, like I am giving it as very high. And process id, in which process id you required while creating the access. I required this one. Save the data. In this way you can do this. And next one is the employee type. So employee types, go here, and here also like FTE, contract, third party, locked, you are having already four employee types. Again, another one I want to create, that is permanent employee. Permanent employee of Tata. Save this one. These are the just labels which I can use while creating the user. The same labels we are having for role creation, right? Different types of labels we are having. The same concept here also you are having. And these are the number range for the provisioning request. We will discuss this one. What is the provisioning request? What are those things? We will discuss this thing. Provisions are the extra access. Not, you cannot say as extra access. These are the extra features which they are having. So here you can give the provisioning setting, related settings, which we will see later, not right now, not required. So right, next one is the EUP, end user personalization. Okay, just go for the end user personalization. Just going for this is the EUP default ID, and this is something customized one someone created. So here for a end user perspective, you can give the fields that are required. This is just the field control. So while creating a user ID for end user, account number, is it mandatory? Is it editable or not? If you can, is it visible for you or not? Everything you can give here in this way for everything. Email ID, yes, yes, no. So give something like logically. Don't give some illogical. Something like personal number, it is yes, but visibility don't give it as no. Okay, don't give something illogically. The system won't accept. Even if the system accept by sometimes, so it will not get affected. So give something logically while creating a user id for end users. What are the fields required? The first option is the field required or not? Mandatory means compulsory or not, you should be giving. Editable means if at all, if it is already exist, can you edit or not? Last one is, will you give option to display or not? These are the three fields which you can maintain. So tomorrow we will see the user forms, then I will show you. You are going to have different types of forms. These are our only settings. Yeah. So next one is the configure attributes for role sets criteria. So in the access request form, you can just select the roles. So one of the important feature of ARM is while creating a user itself, you can even assign the roles required, so which is not possible previously. First you have to create a user id, then only we have to create a role. But here, before creating the user itself, we can assign the roles. So while searching the roles data, what are the parameters you are creating, you are giving here? This is only for role search. So for searching the roles, what are the attributes? Display mandatory fields, that are, so there are no mandatory fields. Display based on the actions means transaction code, application type, approver name, business process, which fields that are required, everything you can control here. Okay. Right, I will show you a access form right now, don't worry. Then you can easily understand this one. So close this one, why the search form has come. Okay, previously we have opened, right? So here, access request search form we are having. When I search here, all the request number that are raised for the access request can be displayed here. The request numbers can be displayed here. So today the main reason why I don't want to execute the MSMP is the system is slower from morning. Right, let it load. In the meantime, this one has closed. So in the meantime, we will see the other settings also that that are still required. Go for GRC, access control, user provision. Yeah. So after this one, the next one you are having is the provisioning settings. All the provisioning configuration settings will be done at a time. And next one is the user defaults. This is like the default data which you are going to get. So when you create a user id, what is the default data you automatically getting? This is the time zone, denotion, backend system. These are the default things which you can 100% customize them. There is nothing like if it is displayed you should be doing nothing like that. You can customize them. Okay. Next one is the review reject reason. So you are getting different types of request. If you are a role owner, you can either approve or you can either reject. While rejecting it, you should be giving a reason. So first one, is it for user, role or risk? For suppose I am selecting for role. Give the description like insufficient data. That's it. Save the data. Okay. Now, when you reject, all the reject reasons will be automatically displayed in that screen. You can just select the reason. That's it. So instead of always giving the setting, you can give this one. And next one is the PSS, password self service. So this PSS, you can just reset your own user ID by using this PSS. So we will do this one. Firstly, a PSS ID and the challenge questions you should be creating. For suppose creating some PSS. So that is in the HR system I am creating. For is it for password or change service? To which service you want? You are having two options. Either for the password or the name change you can use this one. I am selecting the PSS. Number of questions, like I want to select as one only. 1 to 100 any question you can range, I will select as one question only. And number of atoms, so to answer this question I will be giving us 3 atoms. And just going for the challenge questions, like you can give the questions like, so what is the place of birth? Okay, activate this one and save the details. That's it. So now the PSS is active. Now what happens here is, if at all you want to reset your own password, okay, you can come to PSS service and select the question and answer it. Whatever questions we design here, for all those questions, the questions will be given here and you must answer it, and the data must be matching with your HR system. Once we will show this one PSS service. Why SAP is leaving the password reset task for individual user means, there is one good reason for that. I will explain it. Okay, so close this one. So, end user logs, simplified request, these things we will see later. Now let us go for the access management here. So leave this. So when I go for the access request, so here you can check the what are the mandatory. So this is the access request form. So it does not matter what type of request, like new account, change account. This is the label which we have created, new user creation. So is it request for self or others? Will we create a user ID for yourself or for others? For others only. Here also give some logical things. If you are selecting the request type as change the existing user, then you can select the request for yourself. So the logic creating a user for yourself, what will be create? This won't change. The user ID will automatically fill, which won't change here. Okay. So I don't want to show the practical due to the system is a bit slower today. So just the thing. So after giving this thing in the user details, you can see the, so previously in SU01, what are the mandatory fields to create a user? Last name and the password. Here, unfortunately, those are not the mandatory fields, okay, to create the user ID. So here the mandatory fields are, first one is same, last name, and second one is the manager name, and third one is the email ID. These are the three mandatory fields we are having. Okay, so here what happens is, if anyone requests for user creation, you must mandatorily fill these things, and you cannot find anywhere a field called password, either a manual password, neither a generated password. Nothing can be displayed for you. What happens here is, when a user is created, a password will be generated by the system and sent to the email ID which we provide. Okay, the password, the user ID and the password are automatically sent to the email ID. No need to generate some password and send these details to the user. No manual activity required here. Just fill the details that are required. After creating, after all the approvals done, the user ID will be automatically created and the password will be also generated by the system, and the generated password will be sent to the user directly. So in this way, we are having two biggest advantages. First one is, so there is no breach of password anywhere. So there is no scope of except the SAP user, whoever is the owner of, not the owner is again that term will change. Whoever is the SAP user, only the consultant is only knowing the password. No second person is involved. So previously the administrator and the user may know the password. Here there is not even a scope. So that's the biggest advantage. And second advantage is for the administrator. So lot of work burden has been decreased. So after creating the user, what we have to do? We have to send the user details through the access form or through the mail, company mail. So now it's no longer required. The user gets a mail notification. So in this way we can do. So for this reason, they have introduced the concept called PSS, Password Self Service. So even the administrator resets the password or a SAP user resets his passwords. Okay, it does not matter who is resetting the password, the password will be sent to the user directly through the mail. So for this reason we don't have. And some common doubts. So how would anyone, so for GRC system only we are having access. How can someone raise the request? This is a commonly asked doubt. So where are we doing this one? In NWBC. So this NWBC, simply these forms will be sent to the user. So they can access these form links through the URLs which we send. So in this way, we are going to have different types of forms like user request form, end user form, delegation form, okay, simple access form, different types of form. At the end of the day, the concept is 100% same. User creation or user access changes. So the way which they have previously what happened. So previously what happened here is, so you are creating in the user access form and the user access form should pass through the mail ID or through the company some user interface. Now here what happened is the same process is going to happen without any involvement of third party apps. Okay, the complete process is done within the SAP system. Okay, that's the biggest difference between the user access form and the user access the form which you are having in the GRC. So there is no requirement with the third party applications like a Gmail or a ticketing tool, nothing required. Everything is done within the system itself. Okay. Any doubts still here? Right. So anyway, the GRC system is somewhat slower today. So just leave it. So tomorrow, just remember this theory and do the revision of MSMP theory. Tomorrow we will start with how to customize. So firstly, we will execute ARM directly without customizing any MSMP. Very simply, we will do it. So after doing that, we will start customizing MSMP and how is it going to affect the approvals here we are going to discuss. So that's the concept for tomorrow. Okay. Any doubts still here? Anyone? Srikanth, Yogesh, Monica? Right then. So tomorrow we will resume the session. Yeah. So tomorrow's concept will be ARM and MSMP, MSMP execution. Okay, right. Have a nice day, everyone.
సార్ లాస్ట్ క్లాస్
లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ పంపించారు కదా శ్రీకాంత్ ఇందాక 5 o'clock
పంపించారు సార్.
యా
ఓకే.
5
లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో
పంపించారు
S4 హనాను
అర్థం కాదు.
సార్
యా
లాస్ట్ క్లాస్లో S4 హనాను ఫ్యూరీ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేశారా సార్ బేసిక్స్?
ఓకే ఉంది, ఆ సెషన్ ఉంది. రేపు చేయండి, మన ట్రైనింగ్ కంప్లీట్ అవ్వట్లా. ఇట్స్ ఆన్ ఫ్రైడే. ఓకే, ఒకవేళ ఫ్రైడే కూడా మనకి రేపు ఎక్కువ టైం బట్టి వన్ అవర్ దాటినా సరే, ఇఫ్ వి డి నాట్ కంప్లీట్ ద సిలబస్, we will have one more session on Saturday. Don't worry. By this weekend we will complete, but I don't have hurry to close in 2 hours. Till we complete it, I will not end the training. Okay, don't worry regarding that. Okay, right.